Good morning, Barry. Good to see you, my friend.
Morning, Tom.
Thank you for being here today.
No problem. Am I the only one? I'm not. I guess I have to.
Morning, guys.
No.
Good morning, Pete. Pete, if you could, there might be a setting that you can select to change the name. Your name says Zoom Meeting 2021. There's an option that you might be able to change to put your name on there. It's not the end of the world, but if you could do that, it might be helpful.
Where would that be, under more?
I don't know, what kind of unit are you using? Are you using the iPad?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure. Don't go crazy, but if you can change it, that's great.
It might be under participants. If you go into participants and go to yours, you might be able to change it there.
Okay, hang on. Zoom meeting, Carrie. Me, okay.
So if you
Raise hand, mute, rename. There it goes. Barry, you're the man.
Good work, gentlemen. Thank you, guys.
teamwork.
That's it. That's the word. Bing. Thanks, Barry.
And thank you, Joe Menuda, for being here. Of course, thank you, Pete, for being here today. And thank you, Kevin, for being here.
Do you want?
My pleasure.
Good morning, Steve Brescia. Thanks for being here today.
Tom, this is Paul. I'm going to be listening in today. I'm going to be muted.
Thank you, Paul, for being here today. Thank you, Janet. Thank you, Janet, for being here today.
Can you guys hear Joe Menuda?
Joe Menuda, you're coming in crystal clear.
Yeah, I've been here for like 8 minutes. All right, good. I'm glad. I don't know why it's coming up that way. Thank you very much for calling.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, it is now 10:04. We're going to call this special meeting to order. I'd ask you to please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. Please be seated. I ask you to please silence your cell phones. Please note this meeting is being transmitted live via video stream. The public can find a link to this video stream by visiting the Orange County website, www.orangecountygov.com, clicking on the tab for the legislature and locating the meeting on the calendar. Again, please silence your cell phones, tablets, and other electronic devices. It's very sensitive in this room, picks up the little noises. So, okay, we have before us today on our note, I'm sorry, Kelly, roll call.
Ben? Brescia?
Here.
Fagion?
Here,
Luhan?
Present.
Menuda?
Here.
O'Donnell?
Here.
Paduk? Bessie?
Here.
6 present, 2 absent.
Okay, very good. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, thank you all, fellow legislators and others joining us via Zoom. We have in front of us today a notice of special meeting. Notice is hereby given that pursuant to the Orange County Legislature Manual, Section C411-7, a special committee meeting will be held on Tuesday, August 30th, 2022 at 10 a.m. in the Legislative Statutory Committee Room. The purpose for this meeting is for an act amending the appropriate Orange County employment schedules to create Deputy Commissioner of Emergency Services, School Safety at the Orange County Department of Emergency Services. Okay,
So moved.
we have a motion by
Luhan.
Legislator Lujan, second by Legislator O'Donnell. I'm going to call on our Commissioner, Mr. Chapman, to come up and speak to this and give us a summation of this request, and then I'll open it up for discussion. Commissioner, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As you noted, this creates a position of Deputy Commissioner of Emergency Services for School Safety. It's proposed to be the exempt class of the civil service. That's, of course, pending state approval ultimately. And the focus of the position will be to try to work with our public and private school districts and schools to review existing school safety issues, make suggestions, and develop best practices in coordination with them. Ultimately, of course, school safety responsibility lies with the schools themselves, but certainly bringing some countywide expertise and coordination is a positive step to help make our schools a little safer, perhaps.
Okay, great, thank you. As we all know, we live in an increasingly violent world. Whether you're driving on our roadways or you're in a supermarket, or certainly in our schools. So as our schools reopen and students nationwide head back to the classroom, this would be a step in making sure that we have another layer perhaps of safety and security in our school system. So that's what is before us today. I'll now open up the floor for discussion. Legislator O'Donnell, go ahead. Floor is yours.
So as Commissioner Chapman has stated, this is the creation of a new position. How long do you think it will take for exempt status to occur or not occur?
Probably 120 days. We have to have a public hearing and then we have to send it to Albany and they have to approve it or disapprove it.
So if they disapproved it, it'd be a test.
It'd be a competitive class examination.
So if it comes back disapproved, do we have the opportunity at that time to change the title of the position to Chief Assistant to the County Executive?
You would have to go abolish this position and create a new position.
But that wouldn't be an issue.
Well, then that would go up to be exempt, but either
Is there any assistance to the County Executive?
assistance to the county exempt, but when you create a new position, we send, in fact, we're doing it right now. You send it up to Albany for an application for exemption.
Okay, but there's no assistance to the County Executive this time that are not exempt.
There are 2 assistants to the county executive who are exempt right now, exempt right now.
Right, so, okay. Thank you. So this position, besides what's outlined already, it is basically to provide a review of all the existing plans, look at them, coordinate them, make recommendations on those plans, execute some of his or her own plans, such as one recommendation I've discussed with a number of people, adding to the see something, say something by putting a poster in each school floor. And it says, see something, say something, do something, call 311. All right. So the students themselves, they know who needs help more than we do. Even the teachers sometimes are reluctant to get involved themselves for whatever personal reasons, but at least this is being proactive, and this position will definitely be proactive. All right. Besides that, one of the concerns I have is that the position as stated reports to the Commissioner of Emergency Services, who already has 4 deputy commissioners, which is why I asked about the change in title. I think for recruiting purposes, to get the best possible candidate, it's a big plus if this position reports directly to the county executive. You get the quality of the candidate will definitely go up due to numerous reasons, the most being that they're reporting directly to the county exec. There's no question who has the authority to direct which way they go with the school safety. Putnam County, so everyone is aware, put $2 million of their ARPA money into school safety. I don't know what Dutchess did or Ulster, but I know many legislators like to figure out what our surrounding counties are doing on certain issues. But it's not only safety, there's also a narcotics end of this, because I know Chairman Sassy was big, and so was Legislator Sutherland now. With the opioid crisis, this position definitely will help with that, as far as being able to interact with different schools and having timely notification of problems from one school to the next. Once they get into this position and establish confidence with each school district, which I'm 100% sure they will, that they'll have an open line of communication and get that information to the other school districts. Because as all of us know, in particular myself, because I've been dealing with this for too many years, many school districts still think of themselves as the 51st state and are reluctant to notify police on certain cases. You don't find that as much as I did in the past, but it's still out there, that attitude of you don't want the police involved. This is not a police position, right? It's a civilian position that will enhance the safety and security of our most valuable resource. That is our children, all right? It's way past due that we have done something proactive like this to coordinate it. The Chronicle did a very good article last week on school safety. I advise everybody to read it. It just gave a brief overview of what's being done in certain school districts. And you can see just by reading the article that a lot of school districts need to do a lot more. So I'll let someone else take the floor for now and reserve some time for myself later. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further comments? Okay, I see none.
My
Anyone?
hand's up. Kevin Hines, hands up.
I'm sorry, Kevin, I can't see on the screen here. Go ahead, Kevin.
Minuta
All
as
right.
well.
I agree with everything Jimmy said. I just want to point out, because I know some schools are probably watching this, as well as some residents in the county, that the sheriff's office has a phenomenal program in place right now with their special operations group and Deputy Under Sheriff Tony Weed. They've done tremendous work. Any school district that wanted an assessment has been given an assessment by the sheriff's office, and I know they'd be happy to continue to do that if any school district wants to reach out to them. Everybody in the legislature is familiar with our program, where any school district that wants sheriffs in their schools, armed sheriffs in uniform, can have that. They just have to pay the cost. The county makes no profit on that. It's a direct pass through. They can have a sheriff car in front of the school if they want. They can have armed sheriffs at every school in their district. That program has been very successful to those districts that have taken us up on that. We also already have a deputy commissioner in charge of police liaison services. I know Craig Cherry's retiring, but that position will be replaced soon. So in the interim, I think that position, that whoever is hired to that position can take the role that is being outlined by both Commissioner Chapman and Legislator O'Donnell. So we don't have to necessarily create the position right away. If it's going to take 120 days, so be it. We can still start the program immediately with whoever sits in that position as the Deputy Commissioner for Police Services. That person is part of the Police Advisory Board, which I sit on. And everyone should know that the county has, Police Advisory Board has written a white paper and turned it to the county executive, I think probably 2 or 3 years ago. And I know that the county executive has shared that with the schools and every police agency. And one of the key things in that white paper, and that every police officer in Orange County knows this, is that what happened in Uvalde should never happen in Orange County, because our police officers are trained that on arrival in a situation where there's an active shooter in a school, every police officer is trained to go into that school and kill the threat. And they don't wait, they don't assemble like the old days. It's go in and stop that incident immediately. And they go in one at a time if they have to. If 2 people show up, they'll do it that way. So we have a lot going on in Orange County already with respect to this. I'm not against school safety. I'll certainly vote for this position, but I think we have tremendous resources and have provided our schools with tremendous resources. But as Legislator O'Donnell pointed out, some of the school districts have not taken us up on it, and shame on them. They sure should. They should have the sheriff's office in immediately, if they haven't already, to do safety assessments and planning. They offer that service now, and I encourage every school district to get involved in that program, and feel free to reach out to the sheriff's office, not only for that, but if they want an armed deputy in every school, that is available. Thank you.
Thank you, Legislator Hines. Legislator Menuda, go ahead.
Thank you, Chairman. I only have 2 questions with regard to this proposal. Obviously, I am all for school safety, having, my prior life being on the board as well as architect for school safety. My question is this position either a duplication of service, or is this service provided elsewhere within the school district, knowing that they are basically a state agency?
Let me address that.
Go ahead.
I think the bottom line, Legislator Menuda, is this is something that is not duplicated because it's a countywide coordinating position. And Legislator O'Donnell, talked about schools being the 51st state. Whether that's something I know to be true or not, to me, having one countywide point of coordination focused on schools is not a bad thing by any stretch of the imagination. So I don't see any duplication there. I see it as supplemental.
Thank you very much. And then my last question on that is any of this enforceable? Obviously, we discussed that the school districts have the option of either opting in or not. So I'm kind of curious as to where the rubber meets the road here, as to whether this is useful for our county with the schools that we have.
I think it
and how do we enforce it?
I think it has potential to be very useful. As I said before, schools are responsible for their own safety. We start with the premise that people are responsible for their own actions. So when we have these horrible events, who's responsible for these horrible events? The perpetrator is responsible for these horrible events. But in terms of schools run themselves, subject to state education oversight. We, the county, don't control them. What we can do is we can offer supplemental services that aren't being offered now. And you may have schools of differing levels of sophistication that want to take us up on it, and others who choose not to. We can't force our way into it, but if I were a school administrator, I would certainly want to have hear every voice I could about who's an expert in the area of school safety, just as we do as people.
Thank you, sir, for answering those questions.
Thank you, Legislator Menuda. Okay, are there any other hands up? I'm sorry, I'm not seeing anything on here, so speak up if. Okay, see any others? Any further questions or comments? Okay. Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? Anyone opposed?
I have one question, Rob. Mike Paduke.
Oh, well, you can ask the question, but it's already
Okay.
gold.
Yeah, go ahead, Mr. Burdette.
How many schools in Orange County are participating right now? I came in a little late. I'm not sure if you gave us that count.
How many schools are participating in what?
In the sheriff's office,
I don't know that off the top of my head. Some, not all use the sheriff's department. Some use, as you know, Middletown,
right?
Pine Bush Schools use Wallkill Police Department and Town of Crawford. So that I don't know off the top of my head. Unless somebody else.
So this position, they'll be required, the schools that are taking part in whatever it is, the sheriff or whatever safety procedures they have, will have to coordinate with this position, or they won't. It's still up to them, and they can say, well, we appreciate it, but we're not interested, just like some schools have, right?
Correct.
All right, so we're putting in a position that we're not sure we're looking to put in a position. We're not sure who's gonna even be involved yet. Is there a way we could do a census to find out how many would be before we approve this position?
Well, this position has a long way to go, as the commissioner pointed out. So I think those questions in the future will be brought up. Absolutely.
Okay, well, if it's a ways off, then I'm okay with that until we find out more information that we need. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, roll call has been taken, correct? Kelly, you have that? Very good. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for tuning in and your participation. I'll ask for a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Second.
Second by legislator Brescia. Thank you, folks. Have a great day. And thank everyone here today too, so much. All right.